Hello everyone, and welcome to another Steel Division 2 deck deep dive. This time featuring Panzerverband Strachwitz, a pretty unique division coming with the Burning Baltics DLC that is a tank division with a lot of mixes of different tank types, which really makes this division quite a strong early aggressive push deck in my eyes. It has a bit of a lack of depth, as you can see, really few infantry cards, so let's jump right in here and let's talk about why I play this deck Vanguard and why I think it's a pretty solid one at that. Starting with the Recon tab, where we start with one of their super unique units, only found in this deck, this one, the Erkundungstrupp, which brings around an MG42, 3 PPSHs, and 6 G43s. So all top level weapons and a TNT for 25 points. Like, these are great pioneers with recon optics, with an MG42 and 3 PPSHs, so they have better equipment than the normal pioneers in the German decks, with a better MG, with better SMGs, and they have better optics. So a really strong unit, can control a lot of normal infantry units in the long fight, can beat a lot of normal infantry units in the close-up fight as well, next to a TNT, just with the firepower of the PPSHs and the G43s. If this would be more common, like if they would have 2 or 3 cards of this, the deck would be absolutely great in the Recon tab. Sadly, you only have 1 card. Your other Recon infantry, though, is not half bad. And you need it because your infantry tab is so small that your Recon tab needs to provide. And what we get here are the Fusiliers, which, as you can see, just have the worst versions of the SMGs, the rifles, and the LMG. But still, they are a decent squad, basically like a Grenadier squad. With an anti-tank grenade, 1 more SMG, and with recon. So yeah, they hold the line decently. They're not super cost efficient, but you need them, and they give you recon as well. So they're still doing that job of a recon as well, whilst helping you out, filling your need for infantry, for cheap infantry especially, with 25 points. As Strachwitz sadly don't hold quite up there. Yeah, they have G43, but only 4 hit points, and sadly also no great transports for the Aufklärer or the Spätrupp, so I would go with the infantry. You already get Panthers elsewhere. You don't really need the Recon Panther. Infantry, you get Pioneer SVTs, which are at least better than the normal German Pioneers, thanks to better rifles, and the PPSH is also being pretty nice. The DP, yes, it's worse than the MG34, but it's still a decent LMG, and together with the TNT, this makes these pretty good pioneers. The rest of the infantry is Panzer Grenadiers and Panzer Grenadiers MG34s. Sadly, the MG34 Panzer Grenadiers at the moment are just outright worse than the MG42 ones. So you for sure want to take the Panzer Grenadier with the Panzerfaust and the MG42s, which is just a good bit better than the 34 ones. But you only get 1 card of these, so I take them in A. Take a Panzer Grenadier MG34 in B phase, both in half tracks. The Pioneers are your, and the Recon infantry are your fast infantry. And then you have a Panzer Grenadier Führer, and they are not that special. They're your classic leader, but they come in a great transport in the STKFZ 251-17D, whi 17D, which is an AA truck for 30 points. And that is just outright amazing. Like, normally an A truck with a 20mm costs you 50 points. You get them here for 30 points, so nearly half the price, which is quite great. Yeah, this way, with the leader here and with the MGs, where you get them as a transport as well, you can get cheap AA up to the front line without having to buy special anti-air in the tab. And this provides you with AA against stuff like light bombers, and especially something like a Ju-87 or IL-2 cluster bomber. You can push them back before they run over your tanks, and that's pretty key in a deck that is all about armored tank pushes. Like, the infantry here is good. Pioneers help you out with CQC, but they're here especially as a support. Having the 2 Pioneers and their Erkundungs helps you out with fighting the CQC, and the Panzer Grenadiers are there to hold the line of the territory you capture and maybe get into some mid-range fights. But the tab where you really want to rely on for pushing is this one. That's why you also get some tank leaders, something I don't do that often, but here I think it's fine to get the Panther G Führer and the Panzer Grenadier Führer. And then we get a good amount of Luxus. You get Luxus in A, Luxus in B. Those are your autocannons, those are your infantry killers. Your Panzer 3Hs, great against half-tracks, great against armored cars. Solid infantry fighters as well, with 2 MGs and a decent HE shell on these guns as well. And for 30 points, really cost efficient. And then the Tiger 3E as a breakthrough tank in A phase. And then following that up in B phase with some more T-34-85 and Panther Ace. As you can see, numbers really low. This is really a Vanguard deck. You don't want to go above the 25-27 minute mark. But up until then, you have high veterancy. Even taking only 2 Panthers here, but with 2-star veterancy, I feel like Panthers really only shine if you bring them on high veterancy. Panther Chief Leader here and Panther A, which yeah, you can't bring out with 2-star veterancy. The Panther G, so I take the Panther A instead, bring that out with 2-star veterancy, and yep, try to break through with these, and hold the line in B phase if we broke through an A phase. The T-34-85, nice, relatively cost-efficient support for this deck as well. Yeah, for moments where you don't want to bring out the Panther. Panzer 4G is not the greatest assault tank. Well, the G version is relatively cost-efficient as well, so yeah, that's an option as well. It's not the H. You only get them in A though. And I felt like I had a hard time fitting them in, but good option as well. Like the tank tab here, pretty solid in my eyes. Support tab though, you have another cost-efficient half-track, which since it went from 30 to 25 points really is solid again. The SDKFZ 251-90, which is basically the same firepower of SDKFZ 233, but for quite a bit cheaper. You don't have the recon optics on it, but you have the firepower, and the firepower is pretty nice. 1,500 meter range with great heat shells, so great rate of fire. You maybe want to keep them next to a leader or so that they get a bit more accuracy, but really solid units, especially as infantry support, and they can deal with half-tracks, they can deal with enemy tanks if you get them in high enough numbers, and I mean, yeah, with this price you easily can, so sadly, not the greatest availability curve. If they would go to 6, I would take them on veterancy, but on 4, I think they lose too much. So, yeah, great vehicle in my eyes as well. SDKFZ 251-90. You need this cheap armor to just break through. Anti-tank, you get another cheap armored unit, but only, sadly, 1 anti-tank gun. So really, as you can see, this deck is limited in numbers of availability on some key assets, so that's why I've taken Vanguard. You need to break through early on. The Pak-40's great anti-tank gun, but you only get 1 card of anti-tank guns. You don't get any light anti-tank guns, so you have to put the pressure on it in the early game. Panzer Strachwitz can be pretty helpful in this deck as well, holding a weak flank together with a Panzer Grenadier or an MG troop, or getting into a spot where your tanks can't really go to deal with an ambush vehicle or so. So Panzer Strachwitz pretty good here as well. And the Stuk 3F8, since it's buff, got pretty decent as well. Ooh, right, I thought I had it with veterancy. Yeah, it should come with veterancy. And then in the AA tab, this should come with veterancy as well. I thought, okay, something went slightly wrong here, but Mibelwagen and Flak 36 with veterancy. As I said, you don't want to hold out for too long, so quality over quantity in this deck is what it's all about. Mibelwagen coming in here with veterancy, you really want to keep the pressure up. Flak 36, veterancy as well. Yes, the flak feeling is not half bad, but you already have 20 millimeters, and you can't really afford the 120 point price point. Flak 36 you sometimes can afford, so I'd rather take that, and then have the other 20 millimeters on the front line. And this is a bit of more long range fire support. Sadly not a Flak 43, but Flak 36 still pretty decent. Artillery, you get a mortar for easy fire support, or a Wolframen, or if you need to crash an enemy tank position or an enemy anti-tank position if they dug in. Fits perfectly into the Vanguard 140 points of income in A phase, so pretty good as there as well. Then you get more leaders in B phase, so that you can get a bit more stuff done with that. And an off-map lane with 203mm off-map, taking this in B as well, to then achieve the final breakthrough or stopping an enemy from counter-pushing. Usually the enemy can't really afford much AA against you, so bringing these guys out should be somewhat doable. And the 203mm off-map is pretty good, especially for 95 points. And plus, if need be, these can bomb. And the AR-196 also as the 220mm. So if the enemy doesn't know about it, and, for example, sends a really light fighter like a old BF-109 or Yak-1, you can actually have a chance of beating them in a head-on with 220mm and a 7mm. So enemy should be careful. Like against the Finnish or so, like all the really early war fighters, you can actually deal with them in a head-on. Or if you have two of the AR 196, as you get some in the recon tab as well, and you have them flying behind each other, you can trade cost efficiently there, even against better fighters, if you use them to gun the enemy down. Plus, in a dogfight, when the Focke-Wulf maybe is around, the AR can try to get behind an enemy as well, shoot them down with the 20mm. So a pretty good recon plane, just a bit slow, but the rest is good. As the recon version also has the bombs. Also, should come with veterancy. I must have made something wrong with the last save, or not have saved it. As with 1-star veterancy, they are still coming with good availability. 4 is still fine. You usually don't want more than 4. 300 points into a recon plane investment is not what you want for. And with veterancy, they see a bit better. Plus, they shoot a bit better with the guns, which is helpful as well, but especially a spotting better is great. Sadly, the M410 here comes with horrible availability, otherwise a great recon plane as well. And then you get Rudel, which helps out in a pinch if the enemy has strong tanks coming around and you maybe only have your Panzer 3s and Panzer 2s on a flank or so. Rudel can come in, open that up, or if they have good tank destroyers or so, together with an AAR, pretty helpful. Only bomber is a Do 217, not the most amazing bomber, but can pin down infantries in a block and you can drive through, surrender them or so. And 115 points is not too expensive for this. Plus, with the 20mm, it actually has pretty solid defensive. So it actually can shoot down enemy airplanes a bit as well, which is kind of funny. Yep, I like this thing quite a bit as well. Relatively fast. The bombs, as I said, don't deal much damage, but they pin down, and that's often just what you need in this deck to then run the enemy over, pin down enemy anti-tank guns, and just roll them over. Focke-Wulf, A8, solid fighter. So really the issue of this deck is numbers. You don't get the numbers you want, you don't get the numbers you need, and a bit more cheap infantry would have been nice. Like if this deck would have gotten a card of Ersatztruppen or so, it would be a lot better. But it's a lot of fun to play this armor playstyle. I enjoy it a lot. And yeah, keep your eyes up for the game I play with it in ranked. Should be coming up soon. If you don't want to miss it, subscribe down below. Also, if you watched the video till now, keep giving it a like, as it really helps out getting the channel out to more people and getting Steel Division out to more people. So thanks a lot for all your support, guys. See you next time. Have a great day.